Are you understanding that your vibration is about what you are perceiving, observing, imagining, remembering? Are you understanding that you can control your perception? Do you believe that it is your work to contain the behavior of the world around you so that what you observe pleases your perception? Or are you coming to understand that you can become so selective in your perception that the world can roll on as it chooses without your careful watch and guidance? And you can control your vibration because you can select your perception. It's really what we're talking about here. We're talking about wanting so much to offer a vibration that feels good while you're offering it and nets you good results. You want so much to control that vibration that you become an expert sifter, sifting through the data that is before you, looking for vibrational equivalents that please you. That's really what deliberate creating is. But you have to get a good sniffer going. In other words, you have to get good at recognizing what it is you're feeling in order to recognize what it is you're perceiving, in order to recognize what it is you are offering vibrationally, in order to understand what's coming back to you. In other words, it all fits together. In very simple terms, what I think is responsible for what I feel. Because what I'm thinking about is what I'm perceiving, and what I'm perceiving is causing my vibration to fluctuate. And as my vibration fluctuates, I have an emotional response. You are born into this physical time-space reality as extensions of pure positive energy, with a guidance system within you of supreme proportion. You said, I will eagerly go forth into this environment of contrast and variety and potential, understanding that my emotions will guide me and let me know in every moment of my conscious perception. In every moment I will be aware, if I will pay attention to the way I'm feeling, of what the vibrational content of whatever it is I'm giving my attention to is. Now, why would it matter to you what the vibrational content of what you're observing is? In other words, why does it matter how something is vibrating? What business is that of yours? Well, the reason it matters is because if you involve yourself in it by observing it or by thinking about it for as little as 17 seconds, whatever its vibration is becomes involved in your vibration. In other words, you cannot observe something or think about something without whatever its vibration is joining your vibration. So your personal vibration is affected by everything you give your attention to. And everything that causes you to vibrate then is potentially part of your experience. Because if you're vibrating, that law of attraction says it and you are same, and it must come to you. Everyone is doing that. In other words, all of you are perceiving, and so all of you are vibrating, and so all of you are attracting unto you. But when you come to a gathering like this, which we lovingly have entitled The Science of Deliberate Creation, we're assuming that you have decided to be among those rare humans who are going to deliberately offer your vibration so that you can deliberately affect a feeling within you, so that you can deliberately raise your vibration into harmony with who you really are, so that you can deliberately create or control your own environment. And that's who you are from your non-physical perspective. You did not say, I will go forth into the physical, and whatever will be, will be. You did not say, I will go forth into the physical and live out some karmic revelation that has been given to me in some other experience. You did not say, I will go forth and find some leader that will make all decisions for me. In the beginning, I will call this leader parent. Later, I will call this leader teacher or mentor or husband or guru or king or master. You didn't say any of that. You said, I will go forth into this environment, and I will establish desires within myself as I peruse the data of this time-space reality. And once a desire is born within me, I know that law of attraction will summon unto it. In other words, my desires cannot be denied. And as long as I maintain my vibrational harmony with my desire, I'll be right there with it as it expands and grows. You understood from your non-physical perspective that creating is about attraction. It's all about inclusion. If I give my attention to something I want, and I hold my attention upon it until that thing that I want becomes a familiar vibration to me, it must be my experience. But if I give my attention to that thing I do not want, no matter how I shout no at it, as its vibration becomes a familiar vibration unto me, it comes unto me. And so what we're really talking about when we begin talking about deliberate creation, we're talking about finding ways, and there are lots of them, we'll talk about lots of them, finding ways to make the vibrations of my desire the most familiar parts of my vibration. You have habits of thought or beliefs that often do not serve you. You have many that do serve you. And so the question that we will be asking as we are chewing with you upon the things that are important to you, the question that we are wanting you to discover and answer is, what part of my vibration is most dominant? In other words, if I have a desire for a fantastic relationship or for a prosperous business, but I have a belief or an expectation that is different from that, the question worth coming to understand is, since I'm a composite of both of those vibrations, which of those vibrations is dominant? If you want a quick answer, look at what's manifesting. That gives you the answer. If you're having the relationship you want, or if your business is thriving the way you want, then your desire is the dominant part of your vibration. But if you have a desire that is not manifesting, that always means you have a belief or some other vibration. In other words, doesn't matter what you call it, desire, belief, you have a habit of thought. You've got a vibration going on inside of you, a habit of perception that is dominant and is not a match to what you want. So how do you get from where you are, which in this case, in this example, is where you don't want to be, to where you want to be? How do you get from there to there? It is by exercising the power of your imagination. It is by practicing scenarios in your mind until they become familiar scenarios, until they are the one that comes up most often. Because the universe, all that is, God, if you are wanting to call it that, all of the universal forces that are conspiring to answer your vibration are answering the purity of your vibration. In other words, they are not responding to your words. They are responding to your vibration. We want to show you that what creation is lining up energy within you. In other words, it's not about what anybody else thinks. It's not about some heritage or some assignment that someone else has given you. All of those assignments are self-made. In other words, your desires are born from your unique, such unique focus here in this physical body. And so our work is to assist you in goosing up that desire, yes, but it is mostly about finding vibrational harmony with your desire so that with ease your passion can flow. Nothing is more delicious than to have desire that you believe. And nothing is more painful than to have desire that you don't believe. It is our desire to assist you in understanding that all things are possible. There is nothing that you can desire that cannot be easily achieved once you understand the basics of vibration. Well, you have within you a guidance system that is teaching you everything you need to know about that. In other words, there is a stream of non-physical energy that creates worlds, and you have access to it at all times. The cells of your body are summoning it. Every time you get an idea, it is summoned. Every time you ask, it is given. Ask and it is given. How is it that you ask? You ask through the desire that wells within you, the desire that is born out of the contrast. We're not talking about conflict, although conflict, disaster, agony, defeat, all of those awful things that are part of contrast certainly can produce desire within you. We're talking about the contrast or the variety that produces the desire. And once that desire is within you, the non-physical energy is answering that desire. You can't stop that. In other words, you cannot stop the non-physical energy from answering your desire. Law of attraction says that it must. So if you are born into an environment that is conducive to, in fact, it insists that new desires constantly be born within you. You knew that. That's why you wanted to come. You said, this is an environment where desire will be born. And desire is what puts the eternalness in eternity. In other words, desire is what keeps the energy moving forward. Here I am, out on the leading edge of thought as I stand here in this physical body. So as you are standing here in this physical body, in an environment that insists on new desire being born within you, don't you think it is a good idea to learn how to open that vortex and let the desire rip? Don't you think it is a good idea to begin to release those patterns of thought that are holding back the desire that is so very natural unto all that we are? So you were born with a guidance system within you to assist you in understanding the only two things you ever need to know about deliberate creation. Since this stream of energy is flowing constantly, and since everything in the universe is summoning it, even the cells of your body, the first question is, how much of the stream am I summoning? In other words, how much am I asking? How much is my desire? And the other thing that you're wanting to be aware of, the only other thing that is important, is of the stream that I am summoning, how much of it am I allowing in this moment to flow through with ease? In other words, how much allowing of the stream or resisting of the stream am I doing right now? And you can tell by the way you feel which it is. Play with this for a moment and feel. We're going to stop in 4 places on your vibrational meter. This is your emotional vibrational meter. And it tells you everything you need to know about you and your relationship with this energy stream. Feel with us the feeling of passion. And understand that passion means, relative to the first question, how much desire is there? How much energy am I summoning? Passion means lots of desire in this moment. Relative to the resistance or allowing, it means no resistance. Pure allowing. That's what passion is. I've got desire. I have no contradictory beliefs. And the desire is summoning life force through me. And the reason I feel so wonderful is because I'm summoning life force and I'm not thwarting it in any way with my thoughts right now. Now feel with us the feeling of agony, frustration, strong fear, negative emotion. Relative to desire, lots of desire. I've got lots of desire in this moment. Relative to resistance or allowing, lots of resistance. I am not allowing the energy to flow. And that tug of war that I'm feeling, that I'm calling fear or anger, that awful feeling of contradiction is just that. I'm summoning energy that I'm not allowing to flow. Now some would say, under these conditions, wouldn't this poor fool be better off if he wanted not? We say he'd feel better for a moment. But what you are actually saying to him is, I think it would be easier for you to go into an environment that for eons from the beginning of time was set up to be a place that would produce desire within you, and I think you should go forth and have no more desire. Friends, there's an easier way. Rather than trying to stifle the desire that everything in this universe was created to inspire, why not just go with the flow? In other words, why not just let the desire run rampant through you while you work to align yourself with the desire? You getting the sense of how it works?